podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine.
Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans.
For basketball fans.
Finn James.
Will Tremaine.
We are here back again with another episode, up to episode 44 on the Fast Break Podcast. As always, going to be running through a bit of world news, Sal's NBL, NBA free agency as well, our Fast Break MVP, and a little bit of under-19 FIBA World Cup news for you as well. If you want to skip to anywhere in the podcast, as always, time codes down below. But we'll start off with some world news. Well, where are we heading first?
Well, the Warriors have been in action, Finn. I know it's been a slippery few weeks for them, has it? I'll let you break down what happened in this game against the Broncos.
Lost to the Broncos 28-12 in Brisbane. Luke Metcalf sustained potentially a ruptured ACL injury.
Oh, no.
We might be in trouble here, team. Not going to lie. And Chance Nickel-Klukstad also might be out for a long period of time. Our fullback.
Chance what?
Chance Nickel-Klukstad.
That's his name?
Yeah, I swear to God.
Where's he from?
He's Māori.
That's a Maori name?
But I think he has some origins, obviously, somewhere else.
Okay.
It looks like Klokstad, but I think it's Klukstad.
Sounds like a Danish or
It's
Norwegian
somewhere in
or
Europe,
something.
probably. But yeah, we might be in trouble, team. We're still fourth on the ladder, and we have a bye this week, so that's good. Free 2 points. But Luke Metcalf was having a Dally M-esque season, and he just got an ACL injury. So we're in trouble. So Tamati Martin's going to have to step up,
Oh, well.
which he did last season.
Bit more world news action. Liam Lawson has been in action in the Austrian Grand Prix. He qualified P6, which was massive for him. And then he carried through and managed to hold on to that P6 position in the race. Finishing with points. I think he got 10 points, 8 points. So that's massive for him, considering it's been a very rough year for him in that Red Bull reserve team. Obviously, he got dropped at the start of the season, and it's kind of been a downward slope for him so far until this race. So much needed points for him. Hopefully, he can continue with that form for the rest of the season. Last bit of news, Finn. UFC 317. What went down?
Well, first of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to Full Time Sports Bar in Kingsland for hooking us up with some tickets to their watch party.
Yeah, and shout out Finn James for hooking us and some of the other boys up with some free tickets.
Yeah,
it was a great show, man.
It was actually a really fun time. You know, got to go down, had really good seats at the big screen.
Free beer, free food.
Fellow colleagues of mine were there as well. It was good to see them. It was for Kai Kara France, of course, who was fighting for the flyweight belt against Alexandre Pantoja, and just to put things very short and sweet, he got fucked.
I want to hear from a casual. You don't mind me calling you a
I'm
casual
a very
MMA
casual.
fan.
I'd say even less than a casual.
Yeah, I want to hear from your point of view. How did you enjoy the fights, Finn? Obviously, I'm usually the one breaking down the UFC, but I want to hear from you.
So,
what do you find of it?
In the main card, the best fight of the night was definitely Joshua Van versus Royval.
Brandon Royval?
Yeah, that fight was insane. I think it broke the most significant strikes in a flyweight fight in history.
Look at this guy.
And it was incredibly entertaining. I'll tell you that. I've never seen Joshua Van or Royval fight before, but I'm big fans of both of them now, especially Joshua Van.
Yeah.
That guy's an absolute demon.
Bro,
he has
insane
efficiency when it comes to strike rate, so that was really fun to watch. And
fight of the year for me so far.
That was insane. I didn't get to watch the main event, which was Charles Oliveira versus Ila Topuria, but obviously that ended in a first round knockout, so I didn't really miss too much.
Yeah,
but
crazy first round knockout.
Yeah.
Just absolutely flatlined him, and that's 3 wins on the trot against legends, knocking
good,
out
man.
Volk, Holloway, and Topuria.
And he was upper weight class, wasn't he?
Upper weight class, becomes double champ, still undefeated. This guy's starting to really build that GOAT legacy. I think, my personal opinion, let me know if you guys disagree, but if he goes up again and beats Islam for the welterweight strap and becomes 3-time champ with the most insane 4-fight win streak, I think he's the GOAT. Honestly,
he's that
so
good.
He's possibly one fight away from GOAT status.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And in terms of the reason we were all at full time for the Kai Kara France versus Alexandre Pantoja, which ended in a 3rd round submission for Pantoja.
What submission was that, Finn?
It was a rear naked choke,
Hey.
which was brutal to say the least. We were all backing Kai for obvious reasons, but I feel like a lot of UFC experts that I've spoken to leading up to this fight all said that Kai Kara France was a heavy underdog going into this one, and that did prove quite evident. with Pantoja absolutely dominating the entire fight, just complete ground control. And Kai tried, but even when Kai was up on his feet striking, he really looked uncomfortable and eventually got put into submission third round, and that was wraps.
He was just too scared of that takedown threat that like kind of just negated any of his stand-up like advantage that we thought he would have on the feet. And yeah, Pantoja was kind of just winning wherever the fight was. Took his back with ease in the first round. I think he had 4 minutes of control time. And then
That's crazy,
in the third round, obviously that's where the finish came. But props to Kai. He did a great job fighting it. I mean, like some people are out there saying, oh, he shouldn't have tapped in a championship fight. He tried his absolute best to defend that submission, and
he was done for.
It took a lot of attempts from Pantoja to manage to pull off that choke in the end. But I mean, just the fact that he's got there to that point to have a world title fight, coming from small old New Zealand, just massive props to him. He should be definitely proud of himself. And hopefully he'll be back. But yeah, most power, knockout power in the flyweight division still. So I think he still has a good future in the flyweight division.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah,
great
once again, shout out Full Time Sports Bar. That was an awesome event. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, let's move on. Something I wanted to highlight before we recap the latest round in Sal's NBL is the FIBA Under-19 World Cup in Switzerland, which tipped off on Friday night, actually. Obviously, the Under-19 Junior Tall Blacks are over there. And after last year's Under-17 World Cup, where the Tall Blacks finished actually 4th, which was a crazy result. Many of these players in the Under-19 team have actually returned to play in this tournament, in the World Cup, and they've started off with a bit of a bang, Will. Not going to lie. Opening round of the opening game of the tournament, I think it was, they got matched up against Argentina.
Ooh.
And this would have been a hard game. Obviously, Argentina being that South American country. They had one really good player who was American-born but Argentinian mum. I forgot his name. I think it was Tyler Kropp, maybe. Didn't know much about him, but he was very good. Watched the extended highlights, and the boys got the job done. 77-72, a very close game, and they actually started off the first quarter down 16 points. So they led a crazy comeback in the rest of the game and got the job done against a very good basketball nation, of course. And that was on the back of Jackson Bull's 17 points, the 17-year-old doing it on the world stage.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been following along with this, I got to admit.
That's right.
But yeah, they also beat Mali, is it, Finn?
Yeah, they beat Mali last night on back-to-back days, and they won 73-50. So once again, just that defense from the Kiwis being absolutely evident in this game. They held Mali to 7 points in the second half.
Damn.
Crazy.
And who they got next?
They have Serbia next in a few days' time, so I think regardless of this result against Serbia, they should be advancing to the round of 16, so that's really positive signs going forward. Whether they go really far in this tournament, not sure, but even making knockout international basketball is really positive for the future of this country when it comes to international basketball. So really good signs to see. Keep your eyes peeled. And honestly, the viewing times aren't that bad. I think 9:15 was one of the games, and midnight. So if you want to stay up and watch them, it's on the FIBA YouTube channel, but I'm definitely going to be tuning into games when I can, and hopefully the boys can make a deep run, just like the Under-17s did last year, which was really impressive. So,
are there any like guys in this team? Obviously, we have Steven Adams, but we kind of cling to that as basketball fans in New Zealand as our only guy in the NBA. And for years, I'm always trying to look at who's next, who's the next Kiwi guy to make the NBA. Do any of these guys like stand out? Like I see Jackson Bulls there. He's obviously been tearing it up in the Sal's NBL. Do you think any of these guys have like a realistic shot at the NBA, Finn?
It's hard to say at the moment. A lot of these guys are going Division 1 to like pretty big schools. Obviously, Hayden Jones and Jackson Bull off to Wisconsin in the near future. Oscar Goodman's playing for this team. He's heading off to Michigan this year as well. You've got the likes of Carter Hoopoy in this team, who's an absolute bucket on the fly, and obviously the 7-footer and Julius Halafanua, who's currently at Georgetown. So
yeah, what's happened to him? He was like rumored to be our next Steven Adams for a long time, wasn't he?
I think he joined Georgetown maybe like a year early, so he was quite young, and obviously he's got time to develop. He's a really young guy, spent a lot of time at the NBA Global Academy, and he's played a numerous amount of games for the Tall Blacks as well. So I think if it was going to be someone, it could be him, but I feel like it's hard to say. But on the bright side, the quality of our young basketball players is improving every single new generation, especially looking at last year's Under-17 World Cup and placing 4th, which is the best finish out of any New Zealand basketball team other than the 2002 World Cup, of course, where we had that crazy run. But yeah, it's positive signs for these youngsters going forward for sure. And you know, this game against Serbia might be a bit closer than we think, or it could be a blowout. Who knows? And the Aussies are doing over there as well. Joseph Sualipa, pretty sure you've heard of this guy, Will. That young I think he's Tongan or Samoan.
Is he a
or
rugby
something.
star as well?
He's a rugby star as well. They played Team USA in their first game. They did go down, but he caught an absolute poster. I'm not gonna lie, that guy was going crazy. But yeah, if you want to watch that, it's all on the FIBA YouTube channel. Pretty good viewing times. I'd highly recommend it. Some good basketball.
Let's get into some Sal's NBL action though. And one thing I do want to mention is we've started recording the podcast on Mondays now, so the same day that it goes up. We're gonna try this out, see if it sticks. But it gives us an opportunity to make sure that every game is wrapped up on the round, which is good. But we'll quickly run through the scores for this round 15, I think it was.
One more round left.
One more round left. So the Giants got a big win over the Tuatara, 104-85, kept their playoff hopes alive. The Bulls absolutely blew out the Jets, 106-69. The Phi beat the Nuggets, 88-82. The Saints beat the Hawks, 99-81. The Tuatara beat the Jets at home, 99-96. We were at that game.
Must-win game for the
Great
Tuatara
game
as well.
The Airs beat with a big upset win over the Rams, 98-89.
In Canterbury too. Unexpected.
And that secured them a playoff spot as well.
Yep.
And then finally to wrap up the week, the Sharks beat the Phi, 98-88, and that also secured them a playoff spot. So I think 4 spots are now secured, Finn. But if we gaze our eyes upon the ladder, what's the ladder looking like?
So Wellington Saints and the Canterbury Rams obviously already had those home semis locked in. So the Saints currently 1 win ahead the Rams, but the Rams have 2 games in hand. So it could be tied, and depending on points differential, we'll have the first and second seed determined there. The Taranaki Airs and the Southland Sharks, both 11-8 records, with the Airs slightly getting up with a slightly higher points differential. But obviously they've got 1 game left in hand as well, so that could go either way. But this is where it gets very interesting. The 5th and 6th spot is really up for grabs here.
Yeah.
So the Manawatu Jets and the Manawatu Jets, Auckland Tuatara, and the Franklin Bulls all have currently 9 wins. The Manawatu Jets have 2 games in hand. The Auckland Tuatara and the Franklin Bulls have 1 game in hand each heading into this final round. Depending on how the results fall, we're really going to see how the 5 and 6 seeds stack up. I think the Franklin Bulls have Canterbury in Canterbury, which is going to be a very tough game to get up on. The Auckland Tuatara have Hawke's Bay in Hawke's Bay. No Jackson Ball, obviously, for the Hawke's Bay Hawks. And the Hawke's Bay Hawks are also out of playoff contention. Yeah. So whether they actually put out a full-strength team for this game will be interesting. So Auckland Tuatara could get up there.
And it's worth mentioning the Giants and the Phi also still have an outside shot. They have 1 game remaining. If they both were to win and a dominant win, there's a possibility they could make it with losses from the other teams, but a bit more of an outsider's chance for those 2 teams.
Definitely. And the Manawatu Jets with 2 games in hand. I'm really sorry I actually didn't see who they've got next week, but they're looking like they're probably going to snatch up that 5th spot, even if they just get 1 or if they get 2 wins, it's an automatic entry.
1 win would probably do the job.
But 1 win will probably do the job, yeah. So looking forward to the next round. It's going to be very interesting to see how the table shapes up heading into the playoffs. Obviously, having that play-in style tournament with the 3rd to 6th seed as they do in the Sal's NBL, with the 1st and 2nd seed getting that automatic entry into the semifinals. And
obviously we'll be rooting for the Tuatara to hopefully get the job done against the Hawks.
Which is going to be interesting. Rob Lowe, obviously out, but probably for the rest of the season as well. He obviously sustained that niggly ankle injury earlier on in the season.
I think it was against the Airs.
In Taranaki, and he was playing through it. Bit of an inside scoop. He hasn't really been training all that much, only sort of like team-oriented 5-on-5 stuff, but was playing through this ankle injury. And then when they went down to Nelson, it looked like he had to start because he was named as a starter and then subbed out instantly, and that was it. And then didn't suit up at all against the Jets on Saturday night either. So Tuatara are going to be a bit of a niggly one for them going forward, I think.
Opportunities for Nick Barrow and Josh Ledger to step up. I don't know what happened to Nick Barrow in the last game against the Jets. He wasn't there. Yeah. But that cleared the way for Josh Ledger to come in, and he had a massive game. So shout out Josh Ledger. Got to give our props.
Dan Fotu got the start, and
Dan Fotu was a beast as well.
He's very good. A great piece to have, and yeah.
But I mean, Josh Ledger, who hasn't really gotten much game time in the main games since the start of the season, since Rob Lowe kind of came in. He came in this one off the bench. Fotu was in a bit of foul trouble as well, so he got extended minutes. I think he finished with 8 points, 12 rebounds, 2 steals and 2 blocks or something like that.
He was really good guy, really good glue guy off the bench, played really well.
Great game for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Other performances in that game as well. Luther Muhammad, of course, 36 points, went absolutely crazy in the front of the field. That'll be in there in a second as well. And Miles Gibson, too, went absolutely bonkers with 37 points. Slightly less efficient, but he was going crazy.
It was a great game.
It was a really good game. We got down and watched it in person and went down to the wire. It was incredibly entertaining. Dante Russo-Nance had a chance to send it to overtime, but
he had a big 3 before that as well.
He did. He
might get another one in there, but
yeah, a very entertaining week of basketball for sure. And that leads into our Fast Break Podcast MVP. I think we are at week 12 with 1 week remaining. Obviously, we started a little bit late in the season, but next week we will announce our last 1, 2, and 3 from the last round, and then we will also have our first, second, and third place winners from the year, which is going to be very exciting. We actually have no idea who will be coming close. A couple players coming in and out. So we'll see how we go, but that will be all calculated for next episode, so stay tuned for that. But Will, where do we start at third place this week?
Third place, from the Southland Sharks. He's featured a lot on this list.
He has.
If I had to have a slight idea of where he's going to finish, I think he's going to finish in the top 3. Might be wrong, but it's Kalen Boone, absolute bucket, the import for the Sharks down there. He had 29 points in the win against the Fi. You might be wondering, is 29 points enough to get in the top 3? Well, it is when you have 9 threes. And when you make 9 threes on only 11 3-point attempts. So yeah, 9 for 11 from 3 is crazy. We've witnessed him live at Event Finder. He just has the green light to pull from anywhere on the court, pretty much.
I was going to say, these 9 from 11 threes wouldn't have been wide open catch and shoot either. They would have been step backs,
contested,
just crazy contested threes, and he's just an absolute bucket.
Yeah, so I had to give props, even though they only played once this week. He comes in at third place for us. But number 2, Finn, a bit more local.
Yeah, it's our guy who I think I've honestly expected him to be on this list a little bit more since signing for the Tuatara this like halfway through the season after Dave O'Hickey's departure, but he's finally featured. I think this might be the first time this season. Maybe one
second,
other.
Yeah.
First or second time this season, but it is Luther Muhammad, of course, the former Franklin Bull last season who played out of his mind. But this week, he finished with 19 points and 9 assists, and the pretty big loss to the Giants, but that's not where he's earned his flowers this week. And a very, very important win-or-go-home performance against the Manawatu Jets. He finished with 36 points and 5 for 7 from 3, which I don't want to be rude to Luther Muhammad, but not known for his three-point shooting. But this time around, he was on an absolute heater, and he shot a very high efficiency from 3 and just played a very good game of basketball.
And also shout out to Charles Pride in that game, who he was absolutely lighting it up from 3 as well. I forget how many he finished with, maybe around 7 threes or something, but I think he finished with like 27 points. He couldn't miss it.
I think it was 20, around there. He had a 20-point third quarter.
Yeah.
Charles Pride.
Insane.
Very good game. He could have been an honorable mention considering that one quarter alone that he had. But
the other
there's
game
some
was
good
a bit
performances
weak.
here. Will, who do we have at number 1 this time?
Number 1, breaking the scoring record for the season for individual points in a game, and I think it might be the only 40-point game of the season.
I couldn't think of one.
I couldn't think of any others. It's Mojave King from the Tauranga Fi. He had a massive 43-piece. I think he had 8 threes in this one as well, in the loss against the Sharks. Yes, it was a loss, but they also had a big win over the Nuggets to keep their playoff hopes alive earlier in the week. 23 points in that one against the Nuggets. So dropping a 43-piece, he's earned himself number 1 spot on that list. And I think he's another one that I expected to see a bit more of once he signed with the Fi. Because, I think that guy's probably one of the top players in the league for sure. Former NBA guy who got drafted. But yeah, that rounds out our top 3. So 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point for each of them respectfully. And we'll tally it up next week after the final round, as you said, Finn. And we'll see who wins.
Very exciting times, and that's when we will be flying down or driving down to whatever player's house.
Not driving to Invercargill, mate.
Handing them the trophy in person, if they so wish to accept the Fast Break Podcast MVP from the Cells NBL.
We have to make a trophy or something, bro.
Oh, maybe.
Surely we have like some
paper mache or something.
I might have like an old Player of the Day trophy from like football back when I was 6 or something.
Yeah, we could just paint a basketball on it or something. Yeah, not bad. I think they would enjoy that.
Yeah.
That would be a prized possession, just quietly. If I had won the Fast Break Podcast MVP for the Cells NBL this season, it would be at the top of my trophy cabinet.
Oh, for sure.
That's a memorable award.
If Shea could qualify for this award and he won it, I think that's going right next to that MVP, Finals MVP trophy for the NBA.
I think it goes in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like on a bit of a pedestal.
Ahead of the championship as well?
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
I think winning this is harder than winning the Larry O'B.
Oh, bro, it's not even a
competition.
This might be the hardest award to win in sports.
I
in
agree.
general.
Yeah.
There's not
A gold medal in the Olympics? Nah, you want this.
Wimbledon title? Nothing, bro.
Yeah. Stanley
Formula
Cup?
1 championship?
Yeah, not even worth it.
Anyway.
We'll stop waffling.
Yeah, that's enough for NZNBL. We've still got some NBA to talk about. The season's all wrapped up. OKC are our champs, obviously, like we spoke about last week. But yeah, there's always something to talk about in the NBA, isn't there, Finn? The draft has taken place. So should we get into the draft? What's been happening in the draft?
So the draft was on Friday, and I think the second round must have been on Saturday. Or it was Thursday and Friday. I can't remember, to be honest. But yeah, so obviously, as we probably all thought from mock drafts and everything, Cooper Flagg was obviously always going to go number one. And as he did, Mavericks take him at number one, and number two was Dylan Harper, which again was relatively expected, I think, throughout most of the season. VJ Edgecombe going to the 76ers, which I think is a very good pickup. I think he's going to be an excellent player.
I'm very high on VJ Edgecombe. I think he could be like Anthony Edwards-esque if he can develop his jump shot a bit more. But his athleticism is through the roof.
Yeah.
So I'm
and a defensive god.
Very high on VJ Edgecombe.
Con Knuppel went fourth.
That's a bit of a surprise.
I was surprised as well. I don't watch much college basketball, but I was surprised that, I mean, Con Knuppel's being compared to like prime Klay Thompson, like a bit of passer, which I mean,
a bit crazy,
sort of fair, but yeah. And then the funniest pick of this draft was Ace Bailey at number 5 to the Utah Jazz. He looked so angry. Yeah, he looked pissed.
He didn't report to training camp either. Like at the start of their training camp. He missed like the plane. He didn't fly with Walter Clayton, who was their other first round pick, to Utah. So he was obviously trying to make a statement that he didn't want to be there. I don't know what's wrong with this guy, to be honest. Like he made this whole list of like teams that he refused to play for. He named 3 teams that were the only teams he wanted to play for. Ended up getting picked by Utah, which wasn't one of them, and he's already like having a hissy fit.
Yeah, and Utah already have said we're not giving in to his demands. Like he has to play for us.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Imagine he was a freshman, played 1 year. He's an 18-year-old kid. I don't know where his ego has sprung from. He's not even an NBA player yet, and he has the audacity on draft night to just pout on stage next to the commissioner because he got drafted to the Utah Jazz. I think this is fucking ridiculous. What an entitled little shit, in my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know Ace Bailey, of course, at all, but from all of these reports...
He watches our podcast, bro.
Well, he's a fan. But just watching how he has reacted to becoming an NBA player and making millions of dollars a year, he needs to grow up. Like, it's actually insane.
No, I agree.
His
100%.
Parents need to give him the fucking smack on the arm. Just quietly.
Heard it here first, guys. But yeah, I mean, he was projected to go third most of the season
until he turned into all of shithead.
This. Yeah. Bad mentality. You've seen it a few times in the past. Cam Whitmore comes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was gonna be Cam Whitmore.
He was like
last year.
projected 5th, I think, last year. Ended up falling to 20th at the Rockets, and obviously not done much for his career. He's shown flashes, but
I mean, he also had the biggest ego on the Rockets too. And
if he just packed it up and went to a team showed up, had good interviews and stuff, then he could have been drafted higher to a better team and already started out with a better NBA career ahead of him. So it's only going to hurt them in the long run, these kind of players that put up a hissy fit about it.
Oh, it's so dumb.
That was the top 5 though, Finn.
Yeah.
What were some other standouts of the draft?
Something that sprung to mind, I think the 10th pick that the Suns traded for, obviously for Kevin Durant, they drafted Carmen Mulawach from Duke as well. This draft pick, honestly, first of all, I think it's a great pick at number 10. I'm surprised he fell this far. I thought he was quite a good player in college.
Yeah.
But this pick makes absolutely zero sense if you're a Suns fan. First of all, why did they trade for Mark Williams literally an hour before this?
Yeah.
They have about 5 centers on their roster.
Nick Richards,
Mark Williams, the Charlotte Hornets center pairing from a few seasons ago. Mason Plumlee as well. Bol is there, and now they have Kamen Malawach as well, which makes not much sense to me.
They've got a team of shooting guards and centers. Someone said, you got Booker, Beal, and Jalen Green as well at the shooting guards.
And then you got 5 centers. And Royce O'Neal.
So
awesome.
I don't know what they're doing. They need to go get a point guard, and they need to get some wings.
Tyus Jones and Monte Morris are still on contract now.
But with Beal, Booker, and Jalen Green, You got to start all three of those guys, right? Maybe not Beal.
Maybe not Beal.
But Green and Booker, they've both got to start unless you flip Green. Who knows what they're doing in that Suns team?
This Mark Williams trade just confused it confused me so much. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
I thought Carmen was 100% going to the Raptors as well. Like, we were sitting there watching it live, and we just said, bet the house on it the Raptors are taking him here with that Messiah, how do you say his last name? Yurgi? Messiah? The Toronto...
I know who you're talking about. I don't know how to say his name, but he's had a really good eye for talent in the past.
And he's
as
like
well.
got that African connection with Carmen. They were talking about it all like pre-draft and stuff. And then they didn't take him. They took Colin Murray Boyles, I think, at the 9th pick.
Oh yeah.
So that was a bit surprising as well. But yeah, what are the Suns doing? Makes no sense.
Another pick that actually I think some Pelicans fans are going to be quite high on is Jeremiah Fairs from Oklahoma. I know Liam, friend of the podcast, hasn't been on yet, but I'm sure he will at some point.
We'll be getting him on.
He is quite happy about this draft pick, the Oklahoma player. He's having some comparisons to Kyrie Irving, perhaps. A very athletic Kyrie Irving. Shot the ball, honestly, quite poorly in college, but I feel like shooting threes in college is quite hard. There's more space in the NBA court, a lot more spread out, more opportunities to shoot threes. And one player in particular that springs to mind that shot horribly in college and came into the league last year that absolutely lit it up was Ryan Dunn, who ended up being a very good three-point shooter last season.
Yeah. I think that jersey is going to be one of the toughest jerseys in basketball.
Zero Fairs. Very cool. Shout out to the Pelicans teammate that gave that up. I think it was a two-way G League player.
They also picked up Derek Queen as well at the 13th pick.
That was a good pick too.
Pretty good draft for the Pelicans, I think. Apart from giving up, I think they gave up a first-round pick next year, which was a bit surprising because it could be a valuable one.
Was that for the Jordan Poole?
I think it was the best out of New Orleans and Milwaukee's first-round pick next year. So, I mean...
I feel like the thing is with the Pelicans, last season we were quite high on them. Obviously, you can struggle with injuries all year. And now, next season, obviously, Brandon Ingram's gone off to the Raptors. Zion seems like he's going to be healthy and playing.
DeJounte Murray's out, but they got Jordan Poole.
They've got rid of CJ McCollum, who I think Pelicans fans are probably quite happy about moving on from him. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy had a breakout year last season. He's going to be excellent next year as well. The Jordan Poole trade... If he sorts his shit out and doesn't play too over the top like he did the Wizards, I think they actually are going to be quite good.
They got Yves Messi as well.
Yves Messi was very good.
Two good draft picks this class. I mean, the Pelicans roster is stacked on paper. Like if they can just all stay healthy.
He is out next year, eh?
He's going to be out for most of the year, I think.
What did he do?
Torn Achilles.
It was Achilles as well. Damn, there was seven Achilles injuries last season.
Achilles injuries, and there's on average apparently only been like 2 per year in NBA history. So it was like insane, the amount.
Calf raises are going to be in everybody's training regime for the
and
NBA
also it was surprising. They showed like the players who got Achilles injuries, most of them were wearing white sleeves like on their legs when it happened. I don't know how that correlates.
That could be a massive coincidence.
And also Dame, Tyrese, and Jason Tatum all wore number 0. So
watch out, Jeremiah Fairs.
I might have to change from number 0 for our Hoop Nation team.
Well, I think you'll be all right.
Who knows, bro? It's haunted.
I don't think you're as explosive as the NBA players.
Yeah, good point.
But no, pretty good day for the Pelicans. How about we have a look at our picks from our teams in particular? You can go first. This was an interesting one.
Yeah, so we had the 11th pick originally. We traded back to the 16th pick with the Grizzlies.
What did you get? Cash?
No, it was a great trade for us. We traded back 5 spots and we got a first-round pick next year and 2 second-round picks.
That is a good trade.
To only go back 5 spots. And we could have,
Who went 11th? Oh.
Cedric Coward.
Yeah.
Which was a bit high for him as well when that happened. But yeah, we trade back 5 spots. In hindsight, we probably could have traded back 40 spots and still got our guy. Because when the 16th pick got announced, we picked young Hansen from China. I was sitting there in absolute shock. I had no idea who this guy was. I was screaming, "Who?" at the top of my voice. Apparently this is one of the craziest draft picks like in history. There was some expert saying this is so absurd. He was projected to go like 46th in most mock drafts, and we picked him at 16. But I went away. I did my research on our latest draft pick. Watched some tape. I saw some reports saying that he's the Chinese Jokic. And I can confirm that he is very entertaining to watch, and I think he's gonna make waves around the league, in my opinion. Finn, maybe that's a biased take, but this guy, he can pass the ball like no other center that I've seen apart from Nikola Jokic. So
I've seen tape.
I'm happy.
Exciting. Do you know who his agent is?
Rich Paul.
Yep.
He dapped
Once
him
it
up
just
as he came down from
Keeps adding
the
to his
bleachers.
resume, bro. Rich Paul, man. Goat,
He was in the
probably
green
Asian.
room. I mean, he wasn't even in the green room. He was in the stands, and he stood up, and everybody was just blown away. This is insane. I mean, I think the Blazers, just in hindsight, we should have traded back further and got more value because we could have taken this guy later.
Well,
but maybe
no
they
one knows
heard
that.
something.
There might have been other teams that were
Yeah.
maybe high on this guy. Did you see his press conference he did, like the Get to Know Me press conference? And they
Yeah, he
asked,
said,
who
"I
is
like to sleep and play PS5."
relatable
When
as.
they asked what his hobbies were.
So relatable. He might be a fan favorite. Obviously, his
100%.
English is quite limited at the moment.
Yeah.
because he's only like an 18-year-old Chinese kid. But man, potential looks like through the roof. He's like a 7-foot center. Doesn't look unathletic either. He gets up on the rim, obviously at that height, and yeah, passing ability looks strong.
I mean, we're gonna do a bit of a breakdown later on of each of our teams going into the off season, but
Probably in a few episodes time, maybe. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's gonna be entertaining.
Apparently, he was projected quite low, but in the draft combine, really impressed.
Yeah,
So that's where it comes from.
100%. Who
So,
do you
yeah.
guys pick though? Finn? Center as well. I think.
We picked, try say this name 3 times quickly. We picked Yannick Conan Niederhauser from Penn State, a Swiss?
German?
I think he's Swiss.
Swiss.
I think he's from Switzerland. I think he's a 7-foot or 7'1" center from Penn State. Averaged, I think, like 13 and 8 or something like that on the year. Was arguably the most athletic player in the draft, apparently. Above the rim center, good defensively, but other than that, don't know much about him. Whether
He's
he
no
plays,
Jan Hansen, I'll tell you that much.
yeah, he might not be a Jan Hansen, but yeah, we picked him 30th. I think it was our only pick of the draft. So we had him 30th, which, I don't know. It's kind of like one of those picks where it could be a nothing, it could be a sleeper.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about this guy. He'll be playing behind Ivica Zubac, of course. I don't think we have any backup centers at the moment. Pretty sure Mo Bamba's
He's
gone.
going to get some good game time then.
He might play.
Yeah.
He might play. So whether he's good or not sure. He's athletic, so he's essentially Jackson Hayes, but we got him at 30th.
And the last thing we want to talk about in this draft quickly was the Brooklyn Nets draft.
Five-
And how terrible.
5
of a draft
first-round
it was.
picks, and I don't want to shit on my boy Sean Marks because he is a Kiwi, but what was he thinking on draft night?
I mean, we all assumed as we were watching this that they were going to make some trade up where they packaged 3 picks into one that was a lot higher. Because why are you taking 5 first-round picks? You're just going to ruin these guys' careers because there's going to be no game time going around for each of them. And they made, on top of that, some abysmal picks in our opinion. Igor Demon at 8, I think, was the craziest, apart from Young Hansen, the craziest high taken player in this draft.
Good. I'm sorry, he doesn't look
He
good.
doesn't look good at all.
Good
I mean, he's a
passer.
great passer, but he has nothing else going for him. So I was very surprised with that one. The one pick I did like was Nolan Traore out of France, I believe. I was quite high on him going into the draft. I think they got him in the 20s. So
It's not bad.
that's the one pick I like from them. But then they also took, I think, Danny Wolf and Ben Saraf.
Was
from
Danny
Israel.
Wolf too high?
I think so.
27th, was he?
I don't rate him, if I'm being honest, but I know you guys disagree.
I don't know
Some
much
people
about
are
Danny
on him.
Wolf. I know Wade really likes Danny Wolf, but he's a Michigan fan, so it's a bit biased. But
Yeah.
tall, white dude, good passer, decent scorer. I mean, potential. But, I mean, all of these players have potential. You know what was one thing I noticed from the draft? The amount of foreign players that are now getting drafted into the NBA. There's
And
not that
specifically French.
French, but,
They're
even
taking
foreign
over.
players that are playing in college. There's not a lot of Americans.
Yeah. I mean, Americans are still the most dominant, but you're
Yeah.
right. There's still
There's
I mean,
a lot less now.
VJ Edgecombe, he's
from
Jamaican
Bahamas.
technically. Oh, Bahamas, yeah. Yeah, Carmen Malawak from whereabouts in Africa? is
Maybe
he from?
Senegal or
Senegal,
Cameroon or
yeah.
South Sudan, one of those ones. And also, funnily enough, Cooper Flagg was the first white American first-round pick and first overall pick in, I don't know. I couldn't even
How's
tell
that
you.
even a stat? Who cares?
I don't even know. I just seen that. It was funny. And Con
Who would be
Canapel as
the
well.
first?
I don't know. I don't feel like
Andrew
that's-
Bogut, was he the last white dude
But
drafted
he's
number
also
one?
Australian.
True.
Yeah. I don't know when the last one was, but
Maybe it's a sign.
shout
that
out Cooper Flagg.
Maybe it's a sign that he's going to be a bust. Who knows?
I don't know. Mavericks next year. Might be alright.
When in doubt, I hope this isn't going to sound racist, but when in doubt, you should draft the black guy because they're just naturally better at basketball than white people. We're not cut out for basketball.
All right.
They're more
Let's
athletic
get off
than
this
us.
quickly. Let's get off this quickly. Free agency update from the NBA as well. NBA as well, by the way, guys. We need to get off this topic right now. There's been a plethora of signings and trades since last week, Monday, that we will cover off. We already kind of spoke on the Jordan Poole trade. But here's quite a few other ones as well. Most recently, we'll probably go from recent to furthest away because it's at the top of our mind. This morning, Jabari Smith Jr. looking to sign a 5-year, $122 million extension for the Houston Rockets. I think this is a great deal that the Rockets need to sign this guy, despite him having a lesser role last season, but now with the trade from Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, I think he's going to get a lot of minutes, and I think he showed some really good signs in the first round against the Warriors. His three-point jump shot has definitely developed quite nicely, I think, last season, and defensively he's pretty good.
Alongside KD, he's going to get some more open looks as well.
I think this is a no-brainer and a great move forward for Houston. And staying on Houston, I think Fred VanVleet is looking to sign a new 2-year extension on the Rockets, getting away from that max $44 million and going to a $50 million 2-year deal. So basically cutting his salary in half.
I don't understand that. He was about to make $44 million in 1 year, and he declined it to make $50 million in 2 years. Like, he making almost the same, but it would have been 1 year deal.
I reckon he just wants guaranteed. And he probably, to be fair, he's taking a pay cut to hopefully be on a team that wins.
Right.
Because KD's contract is obviously small.
Yeah.
So that also happened for the Rockets as well.
James Harden, Finn, set to sign a 2-year deal to stay at the Clippers. How do you feel about this one?
Very excited. I think James Harden had a very good season last year. I think probably his best year since, I don't know, Houston, to be honest, I'd say, last season.
Maybe there was a Nets year in there.
There might have been, maybe a Nets year. But I think it's
better than Philly days.
I think it's a 2-year, $85 million, and it lines up perfectly with Kawhi Leonard's contract too.
Overpay.
So in 2 years' time, both of these guys will be free agents. And honestly, by the end of their contracts, whether we are a competitive team or not still, they'll probably be on their bikes.
How is James Harden making $42.5 million a year?
Because he is still a good basketball player. You could say that about LeBron James, who also has exercised his player option. So he'll be returning for 1 more year, which is worth, I think, $56 million a year at the age of 40.
Yeah, but he's worth that.
Yeah, probably. He brings in so much money.
Bobby Portis re-signed with the Bucks. Don't know the details of that contract, but oh well, re-signed. Julius Randle and Naz Reid are also re-signing with the Wolves.
Naz Reid got paid in particular. I think it was a 5-year, $125 million deal. So very deserved. Naz Reid, obviously 6th man of the year 2 years ago. I thought he was quite good in the playoffs as well. And Julius Randle, I think it was $100 million for 3 years, maybe around that. So I think that's a pretty good deal for Julius Randle, who honestly had some great signs in the playoffs, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. I think it's a no-brainer. Try keep that Wolves core together. Surround these types of guys with Anthony Edwards.
I want to see them move on from Gobert eventually, though.
But like, who do they don't have anyone else to play.
Yeah. Find a big that can shoot. That's the way that the league's going, man.
Of course,
you can't have a big that can't shoot.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams is returning to the Thunder. Not
Jay Will.
Jay Will.
I think J Dub's still on contract.
The worser of the two. He's returning to the Thunder on a 3-year. I think it was like
24, maybe 24
million.
million. Pretty low deal. I mean, he's a bench player, but
props to him.
Plays well. I think it's deserved.
Keeping that core together. I see they moved on from Dylan Jones as well. That was another trade, but he didn't really get any game time. I think it's just good to keep that OKC core together.
They re-signed AJ Mitchell. I don't know much about that guy, but he was on like a couple.
It's probably
years,
just locker room things that they're doing now.
Keeping
these guys around. It's going to keep the morale high within the team.
Building on that dynasty. Yeah, that's what they need to do. Yeah, absolutely.
You already mentioned Van Vliet. Kyrie extension, Finn?
3-year, $112 million deal to re-sign to the Mavericks, which I think is good for the Mavericks, obviously signing Cooper Flag. Kyrie's probably set to miss most of next season with that ACL injury that he sustained at the end of last year after the Anthony Davis trade. But I think this is a good move forward for the Mavericks. Now with Cooper Flag coming in, who I don't know how long it's going to take him to develop and settle into the NBA, but 3 years with Kyrie. I think Anthony Davis might be on an expiring contract.
I think hopefully he'll want to resign as well, though, because there's potential with this team for sure.
Definitely.
Fully healthy Kyrie, AD, and a Cooper Flag. Who knows how good he's going to be, but from all signs are pointing that he's going to be a dominant player for the next decade or two. So, I mean, that trio of players, I think they could be winning a chip within the next 5-year window.
Sticking on the Mavericks as well, I think this is confirmed, re-signing Daniel Gafford for another 3-year, $60 million deal. I think this is well deserved. That trade They got Lively as well. That trade that sent Gafford to the Mavericks last year from the Wizards, I think, was a great trade. Obviously, it didn't work out in the end, despite the Mavericks making the finals. But Luka obviously getting shipped off.
Gafford and Lively also just confirms that AD can play only the power forward.
That big man depth
which
is so important there. I reckon.
AD's never liked playing the 5.
No.
So having Gafford and Lively to play the center for him is going to mean that he can be the best version
and
of
they're
himself.
two really good rebounders, great screen setters, and genuine lob threats as well, which I think is if they can't shoot, is very important in the NBA. So I think the Daniel Gafford extension, at a Mavericks point of view, is a great extension.
And they're looking for a point guard at the moment, apparently. Either D'Angelo Russell and Malcolm Brogdon are on their radar to fill in whilst Kyrie's out, because obviously you need a point guard to run the show. So it'll be interesting to see if they pick one of those guys.
Who do they really have to run the I mean, Jaden Hardy's over there still.
Yeah, but apparently those two players are ones to watch that they have their eyes on.
Fair enough.
So, Lonzo Ball was traded to the Cavs, Okoro to the Bulls.
Does this trade make sense to you? Like from either team's standpoint?
No, I haven't really looked into it, to be perfectly honest.
Like it was a 1-on-1 trade. There was nothing else attached.
Oh,
there might have been a second round pick attached to one of these deals.
I don't know. Maybe Okoro's younger and got more potential than Lonzo, so the Bulls are obviously going into a rebuild, I guess. Maybe the Cavs think Lonzo's going to help them longer term off the bench to come in for Mitchell or Garland. I don't know.
Well, does Ty Jerome leave this offseason then?
Well, he's kind of like the backup 2, I guess, to Donovan. Maybe Lonzo's going to be that backup 1 to Darius. I don't know.
See how we go.
Like, non-meaningful trade anyway.
Yeah, it was just unexpected. Yeah. But I just want to see Lonzo Ball play basketball. I think he's incredibly talented when he's healthy. Yeah. Big win, though. Win healthy. Yeah. This trade also confused me. I think this happened yesterday. Colin Sexton and Yusuf Nurkic trade. Very random. Colin Sexton off to the Hornets.
Yeah.
And Yusuf Nurkic off to the Jazz to add to their big man depth with obviously Walker Kessler.
The Jazz had to add a second round pick with Sexton to the Hornets.
Yeah.
Whereas Nurkic just came to the Jazz. L for the Jazz, W for the Hornets. I think Sexton's still got some potential in there.
Yeah.
He's obviously a bucket. Nurkic is obviously sucks. Apart from when he was on the Blazers. But anyway. Yeah, not much to look into in that trade either. Kristaps Porzingis was traded for absolute pennies.
A week ago. Yeah, this is crazy.
They got Georges Niang.
Bro.
Like, if that's what Kristaps Porzingis is worth in the big old 2025, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Unexpected. This was a 3-team trade. I forgot what the other people... Terrence Mann off to the Brooklyn Nets, I think, which is random. But KP lands at the Hawks. This is... I don't know what this... Does this add to the Hawks' depth? I mean... They're just that team that's going to be 500 every year. But, I mean, adding KP, who's a champion, great shooter, big man, plays the 4. I mean, Trae Young's there. Who knows what this means for the Hawks next year? Do they finally get above 500?
And lastly, Anthony Simons, my guy, baby Dame. This one really upset me. He was traded to the Celtics, Finn, for Jrue Holiday. And we had to give the Celtics 2 second-round picks. I have no idea what we're thinking in that one. Yeah, upset me as a Blazers fan to see Anthony Simons move on. He was kind of that guy that we clung to after the Damian Lillard trade. So, yeah, but it is what it is. Jrue Holiday says he doesn't want to play for us.
Yeah. It's the second time he's been on your team.
I mean, it's not really up to him. Like, we're going to utilize him. He's a good defender. I think with him, Tamani Kamara, Matisse Thybulle, Donovan Clingan, we could potentially run out one of the best like defensive teams in the league next season.
Yes,
so,
yeah. It's not a bad
It is what it is.
Unexpected, to be honest. And it's funny that Jrue Holiday, technically he was traded to the Blazers last season.
In the Dame trade, yeah.
Was it last season? The Dame trade. So
in the Dame trade, we flipped him straight away to the Celtics for Robert Williams and someone else, I believe. And now he's back with us.
Delano Banton, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now he's back. And he has publicly said, I don't want to play for them. So, I mean, fair enough. He's a champion. I wouldn't want to play for the Blazers either.
Okay, bud. I mean, we're a rising team. I think he'll be a good mentor to Scoot Henderson at the least. But yeah, I obviously don't like the trade. But Anthony Simons, at the end of the day...
Was it time to move on from him, do you think?
I think so. He just didn't fit our team. We have Scoot, who we want to develop at the point guard there. And he was a great shooter, great scorer, but outside of that, he was a real defensive liability. So him and Jrue Holiday kind of polar opposite players.
Drew's a good scorer, though. Still. Yeah. Great, decent three-point shooter. And
not as good as Simons.
No, Simons was a good player.
For the Celtics, Simons is going to be a bucket if he stays with
He's going to be like that Peyton Pritchard-esque player.
He's better than Pritchard, though. Like, this guy has been top 5 in three-point shooting for, like, the last 3 years.
despite being an absolute chucker.
And that Celtic system where they just chuck up threes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Anyway, that is all we have. Next week we'll have the Fast Break Podcast Sales NBL MVP. We'll keep an update as well, of course, on the NBA free agency, and the FIBA Under-19 World Cup will probably be into the knockout stages coming next week, and whether the Junior Tallbacks are still in or not, we will have to see. But thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next week.